Alright, so let's try 12.2, number 49. They tell me that I should solve this thing using an augmented matrix. And I start with 2x plus y is 7, y minus z is 2, and x plus z is 2. So can you guys make this into a matrix for me? Oh yeah, the order of the x's, the y's, and the z's matters seriously. Yeah. It's called an augmented matrix because we have that line that represents an equal sign in there. Yeah, regular matrix just doesn't have that equality. So it tells you about the variable side of an equation, but not about the output side. All right. Can you guys fill in the behind the equal sign part?
Yes.
722.
Okay, that's 722 vertically. Cool. And how about the first row on the variable side? 210. Okay, and I made sure, right, that now I'm stuck. I'm thinking about x's in the first column, y's in the second, and z's in the third. So with that information, right, that I'm stuck in this, what's my second one? 0, 1, negative 1. Very nice. And then this other guy is 1, 0, 1. Okay, so now, and this is the thing you kind of, this is the matrix technique for 3x3s. I need to start at this bottom left, and I want a 0 there. So don't do that. There is a temptation to multiply the whole equation through by 0, right? But I want to know what, like in this one, I really want 0, 0, number. That's going to tell me what z is, right? If I have 0, 0, 0, I have no information about z, right? I took the information I was going to have about z and I threw it away. Don't do that. It's a very tempting step. So if I want a 0 here, I have two options for how to get a 0 there. What are they? One we just learned, the row exchange thing. How could I get a 0 here using row exchange? Yeah, I can swap row 2 and row 3. That would get me a 0 there for free, right? What else could I do?
Multiply by -2.
Yeah, I could multiply this one by -2 and add it to the first one. You guys see that? Which of those is a better option? Okay, sure. Let's switch. So we'll exchange row 2 and row 3. Okay, so if I exchange row 2 and row 3, what happens to row 1? Yeah, it stays the same. So I got 2, 1, 0, 7. Everybody with me? All right, now what's my new row 2? 1, 0, 1, 2. Okay. What's my new third row?
0, 1, take 1.
0, 1, negative 1, 2. Okay, so now I have a 0 where I want it, and I have to try to keep that thing, okay? So your second spot you want to target for a 0 is right here. So our goal here, the thing I'm trying to do, is I eliminated the x's from this second, or from this third equation, right? Now I'm going to try to get the x's out of this second equation, and then I'm going to use that information to get the y's out of this last equation. You guys see that? So how can I get the 1 out of that middle bit? I want to put a 0 there. Multiply by -2? Okay, so I'm going to take row 2 and replace it with -2 row 2, right? You guys see that? Okay, so I've got 2107, y.
Just multiplying row 2.
Yeah, because they're just playing with row 2. So what's the other easy row in here? Yeah, row 3 is going to be easy, right? Because it's going to stay the same. And row 2 is going to turn into -2, 0, -2, -4. Perfect. Very good, guys. All right, now what are you going to do? What's your next step? Okay, so you're going to take row 2 and replace it with row 1 plus row 2. Good stuff. Okay, so what's going to happen to the first row? Yeah, nothing's going to happen to the first row. So I've got 2107. All right, what's going to happen to the middle row? Okay, I'm going to get a 0 here. What about here in the second position? We get a 1, right? That's 0 plus 1. Then you'll have -2. And here you'll have a 3. You guys see that? Okay, so that's me taking these two, right, and adding together. Right, that really corresponds to two equations, right? This top equation is 2x plus y is 7. And this middle equation is minus 2x plus 0y minus 2z is -4. If I add those two equations together, I'll get this, as long as I'm careful with like terms, right? The thing this does is it makes like terms a little easier because it keeps everything kind of super organized. All right, so what about my third row? What do I get my third row? It's the same. So I got 0, 1, -1, 2. Okay. Now I have an equation. Let's see, my top equation is about x's and y's, right? My middle equation is about y's and z's, and my last equation is about y's and z's. So what can I do? What should I do? Ooh. Where'd you get -2? It's not a bad idea. Oh, you guys want to get rid of z. Yeah. Okay. That'll totally work, but it's definitely not the standard order. Sorry, let me give you standard order. Your idea is totally flawless. It'll actually work, but I'm going to give you the standard order just because. So the standard order is to get your numbers here along the diagonal and zeros here. Yeah, so this is going to find your last variable first, right? So you're going to find z first, then you're going to use that information, right? If I knew z in this last row, then this equation is about y's and z's, right? So that'll tell me about y's. Then I'll use that information to figure out about x. You guys see that? So how would I get a 0 right here? Yeah, you could multiply by -1 and then add, right? Okay, so let me take row 3 and turn it into minus row 3. Okay, so I got 2, 1, 0, 7. And what's your middle row? Same. 0, 1, -2, 3. And your last row is now going to be 0, -1, 1, -2. Perfect. Okay, now what are you going to do? Yeah. You're going to take row 2, add it to row 3. Oops, a little short. Okay, so how about your first row? Same thing. 2, 1, 0, 7. Okay, middle row. Same thing. 0, 1, -2, 3. Third row.
0, 0, -1, 1.
0, 0, -1, 1. Okay, what does that tell you? Perfect. That tells you z is -1. You guys all see that? This last equation really reads minus z is 1, right? Same thing. So really, actually, if we wanted to make that obvious, we maybe could multiply by -1, right? Okay, see that? Just flip both pieces there. All right, now I know what z is. What can I do with that information? Yeah, now I could plug it back through, or we could play some more matrix games to get rid of this -2, and then once that was gone, we could get rid of this 1. What do you guys want to do? Do you want to play more matrix games, or do you want to back substitute? It's up to you. Back sub? Okay. So right now at this point, what's my first equation read? 2x plus y is 7. What's my middle equation read? Y minus 2z is 3. And what's my last equation read? Z is -1, right? Okay, so you're going to take this information and plug it in there, right? So what's that going to read? That's going to read y plus 2 is 3. And as Corbin notes, that's y is 1, right? You guys see that? So now what are you going to do with that information? Yeah, you're going to take this information and possibly this information, right? And plug that back in here. You guys see I don't need the z information in this example. But do you see that's possible that I would? Somebody tell me why I don't need the z information. Yeah, there's no z in there because there's a 0 over here, right? You guys see that? Okay. So if I plug that information in there, I get what? X equals 3. X is 3. Right? That's really me looking at that and thinking, all right, I've got 2x plus 1 is 7. So I subtract 1 from both sides and then divide by 3. Divide by 2. Why would you divide by 3? All right, so what's my answer? Like, what do I write at the end?
3, 1, 1.
Okay, so this is a little confusing, right? Because ultimately my answer is x is 3, y is 1, z is -1, right? All of that. Yeah, this is a 3D point. Have I ever talked about 3D points before? Probably not. They're pretty chill. How would you write a 3D point? Yeah, you just add an extra slot, right? So you do 3, comma, 1, comma, -1. Perfect. Awesome, done. There's your intro to 3 dimensions. It's just like 2 dimensions, except there's another slot. Cool? Questions, things? Do you guys see that it would be really easy to back substitute if I had, at the end, arrived at a matrix like 1, 0, 0, 3, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, -1?
Yes.
Yeah, because there's no back substitution required. You guys see that? So if I could, right, this would be the ultimate goal of playing more matrix games, would be to take this thing and turn it into this guy. And it would. I know it would because I got this as an answer. You guys see that? Questions, things? That helps straighten out the 3D one a little bit. So important things for the order. Remember, you want a 0 here first, a 0 above it, and a 0 off to the side. And then once you've got z, you can back substitute, right? If you're going to play more matrix games, you can do these in, oops, we should do 4 up here, 5, and 6. 4 and 5, the order doesn't particularly matter.
To get those 0 to 2 out of the loop,
really, to get those, here I'd multiply this one by 2, add it to that one. Then once I was done with that, I'll get a 1 here, right? So I'm going to flip the sign on this one, add it to that one. We're only a couple steps away from having that anyway. We would have numbers there. But we'd get to it eventually. In particular, we'd have 1, minus 1, 1, 0, and something, 1. And then we'd have 2, 0, 0, 6 in the top row. Cool? Questions there?